my dad taught me young, he's like, hey, you may be small and smaller than everybody else, he's like, but you're not weak and you don't ever have to be.
Were you a fighter before you'd learned fighting skills?
Yeah, dirty from headbutting, biting, you name it, dirty tactics, but absolutely fighting since I was little. Once you've faced death and you've seen all these extreme circumstances, anything after that kind of pales in existence, but it also makes you put more value and appreciation because I choose to go in there. Yeah, I still want my bucket list finishes. You know, like I still don't have a clean knockout and I need that. I want the I make contact and it's
You want
lights
eyes
out.
spinning like. Okay.
I want out cold.
Hello everybody and welcome to Between Rounds. I am Dan Hardy and I am joined by the legend Liz Carmouche. We're sponsored by Gorilla Energy. We're in San Diego. You're fighting this weekend and today's weight cut day. So thank you very much for joining me first of all. And second of all, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. You know, you can't complain when you come to San Diego with the beautiful weather.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the post-fight foodie adventure.
Okay.
You know, this is the best place to do it.
Oh, okay.
And,
well, you're the person to talk to about this.
I am. I will send everybody I meet, I'm like, what are you craving? I will send you out to find the best place to get it.
Is that right? So
Absolutely.
what's your go-to then after the fight?
It depends on how late we get out. On standby, I already have mousse cheesecakes ordered, center buns, and then I'm trying to decide, like connecting with the wife and son to see where they're at with things and whether or not we're going to go get steak or do the traditional like carne asada burrito.
Okay. You spent a lot of time in San Diego then?
20 years.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because we were obviously on USS Midway yesterday, which was amazing. Talk to me about San Diego and about the relationship with the military here. And like, I always used to come down here to do like sign-ins and seminars on military bases and stuff. And I was always getting like pull-up routines from the guys on the bases. But like San Diego, it just feels like it's like an extended military base almost, but there's just such a good vibe in town. What's it like here? What's it like to live here?
Yeah, that's definitely how I felt like when I first came out here. This is where I got stationed, where I was at for 5 years out of my Marine Corps service. I was stationed out here. And MCRD, so where they go for Marine Corps boot camp, is connected to the airport. So when you fly in, you can see everything, the whole setup. You can see the military flag, the Marine Corps flag as soon as you're landing in. So you really get that ambiance that this is a military town. And then you go to Coronado and you have what everybody knows is the Navy SEALs. And you can continue on and just find base after base and integration intimately of the military community with the civilian community. And it's very much embraced and very much a culture here. And with that comes a very strong desire to challenge yourself and for physical fitness and to be able to strive. So you see a lot of combat opportunities with Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, Muay Thai, and MMA because everybody that's in the military is trying to bump up to the next level and keep that going. And it's offered everywhere you go. I mean, you could take 26 classes in a day if you wanted to at some of these places.
The town's kind of grown around and like embraced the fact that the military presence is here. I actually even have a tattoo on my leg that I got here at a very, very famous tattoo studio called Tahiti Felix. And it's a tattoo studio and a museum.
Yeah.
And it's a museum because all of the flash designs on all the walls are all the old military tattoos, all the crossing the equator, the shellback tattoo and all the different kinds of, it's an amazing place, but it's like when the military arrive here, it's like it's like a second home immediately when they arrive. Did that seem like that to you? Like when you were first stationed here, it's almost like I kind of feel like I belong here already. Yeah,
it definitely has a very warm embrace. They definitely are supportive of the troops. It's culturally, you can go to different restaurants, coffee shops, all these things where they're doing a throwback to all the military in town. They're usually giving back to a lot of the military. There's a lot of nonprofits here to help that. It's very much a military town in support and trying to get back to them.
How did that affect you as a person? How did your time in the military craft you into the person that you are now?
I think it helped a lot. I mean, I was a Marine and I was in from 04 to 09. And during that time, you're going to Iraq, and I went 3 times, and you learn how to meet goals and try and achieve that with little to nothing. The Marines are the least funded of all the branches. So they'll ask you to do something, and they're like, yeah, here, I need you to build this with this bowl. And you're like, what am I supposed to do with that?
You've seen the A-Team, you know how this works. You've got a washing machine, we need a tank.
Exactly, right? So you know how to face adversity even in the combat zone, on how to overcome everything you're faced with and still be able to complete these tasks. And so it teaches you to have discipline and to be able to achieve this with nothing. So that gave me the confidence that in MMA, I have coaches, I have teammates, I have really nice customs, and I'm not being shot at. There's no anything going on that's negative. So it's really easy to be able to reach the goals in front of me because of everything I experienced in the military.
And what did it do for your character? Like, obviously, you know, your time away serving, you must have been in some pretty intense circumstances. Nothing that would really compare to anything that you're gonna experience now in your life as far as your MMA career goes. Is it difficult to, because say for example from my perspective, like I'm stepping into a fight and this is everything, like this is a big deal. Whereas when you've been in a life and death situation, it must kind of cast a shadow on how important the danger is that you're facing in a cage, right?
Yeah, to some degree, absolutely. You know, once you've faced death and you've seen all these extreme circumstances, anything after that kind of pales in existence, but it also makes you put more value and appreciation because I choose to go in there. I think had I not had the military experience in fighting, you know, weight cuts would have been way more intense. And going into the cage, doing media would have been like a big burden. And it's an overwhelming task instead of like, no, I chose this. I don't have to cut weight. I could have chosen any other job. I'm choosing to go in the limelight. I'm choosing to be in front of media. I'm choosing to get to meet fans and hear their stories, to do the weight cut. Like that's a choice. I don't have to do any of that. So when people are there suffering and crying about doing it, I'm like, we could have done anything else. I'm not upset about this. There are worse things in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It puts everything into perspective, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
What were you like as a kid? Energetic?
Energetic, I'd say, yeah, energetic, a really well-behaved kid.
Okay.
I definitely think a lot of people are expecting that, oh, you got into martial arts young, and to some degree, yes, but I never stuck with any. I was super ADHD. So I was like, okay, today I'm going to do ballet, tomorrow it's going to be karate, and then the next day I'm going to learn how to be a gymnast. It's just constantly changing and evolving. But also, you know, I grew up in Japan, so I learned those customs, and that's what I thought everyone was like, and coming to the United States, realized it's not the same. And I think the difference between myself and a lot of the kids was I didn't believe in bullying, and I was really a big advocate for trying to step in when kids were. And my dad taught me young, he's like, hey, you may be small and smaller than everybody else, he said, but you're not weak, and you don't ever have to be. So then I would step in for other people like, hey, you don't bully them, and just made it like the norm wherever I'm at. Like, we don't do bullying here. You want to go bully, go elsewhere, but not in my vicinity. I don't ever want to hear about it. And so I would get into physical altercations, but they ended quickly. And it was always the rule, not allowed to start fights, but I better be the last one, and I better end fights.
Okay. So were you a fighter before you'd learned fighting skills, would you say?
Absolutely. Yeah, dirty from headbutting, biting, you name it, dirty tactics, but absolutely fighting since I was little.
Is that right? Yeah. What about sports? What sports, what did you focus on as a kid, if anything? Were you able to focus and put your attention into it?
Yeah, I would say that primarily my main focus ended up being softball and soccer.
Right.
I loved basketball, I loved football, and football was really my passion, what I wanted to do. But my dad's like, yeah, you're too small for that, and we can try, but there just weren't any opportunities. So soccer was really that. I think I played soccer from 8 all the way until I graduated high school.
Okay.
And then softball equally. I played t-ball, baseball, and softball my whole life as well.
So when did martial arts first appear on your radar then? When was the first time when, I mean, obviously growing up in Japan, I would have expected something about Japanese culture to have introduced you to a martial art at that time, but correct me if I'm wrong. When did you first become aware of martial arts?
Yeah, I think growing up in that culture at that time, I was definitely immersed in being able to see martial arts. But I knew nothing of MMA until I joined the Marine Corps. Nothing
Really?
at all. I didn't know about Jiu-Jitsu. I knew about karate. I knew about taekwondo, aikido, and that was about it. So I definitely studied and watched stuff and thought it was really cool. But my mom's like, hey, we don't have the money for you to get into these sports. The other ones we can afford, but you need to have a gi, you need to have, you know, we have belt testing, all that. So we just weren't able to really pursue it the way I wanted to. And so I kind of let it fall off, but really had an appreciation for the limited time I did. Like I think I did a month of aikido, a month of karate, and a month of kempo, and that was about it. And it was super little when I did it. But it always lingered with me as something that I really enjoyed, and as like a discipline and a respect for each other, and a strength that came from it, and a confidence in something I wanted to get back to. And then when I joined the Marine Corps, every tour I did to Iraq, I tried to make a new challenge for myself and try and meet that challenge by the end of the deployment. And there were new goals every other time. And it was finally my 3rd tour where people I served with are like, hey, you should check out MMA. Every tour you set out a new challenge, and you have this drive and this passion for it. I think it'll be a good fit for you. and I started watching MMA, saw Chris Cyborg, convinced that I could fight her at 145, and I was a 145er. And that's when I really started to study like BJ Penn's book and a few other people, and decide that that's what I was going to pursue when I got out of the Marine Corps.
Very interesting. And looking back, would you have done anything differently? Would you have changed anything about your journey?
I don't think so. Just because I see, for one, being in gyms for so long, I get to see some of the kids that come up that by the time that they're adults and they can really pursue the career, they're burnt out at that point. Or I see kids that, or even young adults where they get injured, and the dreams and all that potential, they have to lose out on because of an injury. Or they want to first follow a degree and do that first, and then the opportunities, those doors have already closed for them and they're not available. So I think had I gone any other route, I wouldn't be where I am today.
What do you think the hardest thing that you've overcome personally is, if you don't mind me asking?
I think the hardest thing personally was when I originally got out of the Marine Corps, transitioning and trying to be a civilian, and feeling like I couldn't connect with the world, like I didn't see eye to eye with people anymore. Like I had so much identity. I thought, and not even being a Marine, I thought that I did a really good job of being to be able to compartmentalize who I was before and who I was then, and then the Marine side. And I didn't realize how wrong I was and how those two had come together. And I was having a difficult time just trying to communicate and see eye to eye and understand jokes that Marines say to each other that regular civilians do not find funny. Like the excessive drinking that they do in the Marine Corps and how unhealthy that is.
Yeah.
And just all these things where I'm like, and I applied for jobs for 6 months before I got out and then 6 months after and had no bites, not a single one.
Wow.
And so I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And so it was a really hard time. And what got me through all of it was MMA and finding that community.
Well, that was my next question. Is like, did you kind of find a space in MMA for the thing that lived in the Marine Corps? You know what I mean? Because it's like, interestingly, a lot of fighters, when they come to the end of their MMA career, they go through this kind of like post-traumatic stress disorder of not really being sure who they are and what they're going to do now. And, especially if their career's ended by an injury or something, you kind of all of a sudden, you feel like you're running on a treadmill that's just going to endlessly go and you've got nowhere to go. Like, do you feel prepared, and obviously we're not talking about the end of your MMA career yet, but when it does come, do you feel more prepared for that because of your transition from the Marines to being a civilian?
Yeah, I certainly think that in some ways, no, I'm going to have that same really hard transition because I have put so much of my identity in this. And then in some ways, that military life and being a Marine was a pretty clean, cohesive transition to being MMA in the sense that they have a lot of parallels and you can take so many lessons from this and apply it to MMA, right? So that's in some ways been a really easy transition, as difficult as it was. I think, again, I'm going to go from like still having a very militant lifestyle to then being a civilian and not knowing how to apply that. But the thing I'm grateful for is with MMA is I've had an opportunity to teach. I've had an opportunity to go around the world, do seminars, and to do private lessons and to be able to run a gym. So I know how to do those things. I know I can always fall back on that and continue doing that. And I know that I'm trying to set everything up responsibly as possible to make it that when I do retire, I'm financially sound so that if I do other stuff, it's to supplement and for passion, not for a need.
That makes sense. Do you enjoy coaching?
I enjoy coaching a lot. I do, yeah. I think it's kind of like a fun puzzle to figure out because everybody learns differently.
Yeah.
And while everybody wants to have the top athlete that's super athletic, really smart, great work ethic, they are such a small percentage to find. And oftentimes they don't want to be coached, right? They think they know it all. When you have a student that wants to work for everything, is not athletic, is not a natural at anything, but has a love for it and a willingness to try, those are the students I love working with. Because if I can figure out what clicks for their brains and what makes sense and how to help them, there's to see a fire light and then from that light to just blow into this ginormous bonfire is so rewarding.
Yeah. I always say to Veronica, at some point we're going to need to come and see you. I'd love you guys to train together because your mentality, I feel, will click really well with her. She's very driven and very kind of, always trying to find a way to get better, always trying to find a way to improve, but you've mastered a system of how to keep improving. Do you consider yourself as a good student?
I hope I am. Yeah, I try and listen. I think sometimes I have too much information, I get in my own way, or I'm too critical on myself. I mean, I can remember working with Justin Flores, And he and I are doing a private. I'm like, I did that wrong. He's like, you are the only person that I have to say it's okay, continue. Other people have to be like, no, you did that wrong.
Yeah.
Do it again. He's like, I have to tell like, it's okay, move on. I'm like, it wasn't perfect, and I want to do everything perfectly. And so I'll want to put in extra reps. And I am definitely the student where I have to be told like, you need to go home. We're closing the gym today. You're not doing anymore. Do not come in today. But good student, no, because I think there's always room to grow and learn from stuff. But I think I'm a willing student.
Yes. Okay. So the fight's coming up this weekend. Today's weight cut day. So what's the process from now to Saturday?
So now to Saturday, it's today. We'll do like a little shakeout, just do some mitts, just to get a sweat going, see how the body responds, and then in a few hours, if everything went great during the shakeout, then it's get into the bath, do a burrito, sweat some out a little bit that way, relax. Watch ridiculousness with the coaches, joke around, just try and let my body rest until tomorrow, go weigh in, and then it's a matter of just rehydrating, getting all the right fuel in my body, and then making sure we've done all the work, right? At this point, there's nothing else to do. There's no changes that can be made at this point. It's too late.
Yeah.
So it's really just about fixing my body, making sure it's as healthy as possible to go into it, as energized as possible, and relaxing with the coaches, joking around, having a good time.
Yeah, sounds good. And then fight day. What do you do on fight day? Do you sleep in? Do you like wake up early and get a shakeout?
No, Saturday, I'm the lazy person in the sense that I try and sleep in. Sometimes it doesn't work. I'm one of those people where once I start to see a drop of the sunlight, my body's like, hey, it's time to get up. Even though I'm like, no, we're going to sleep until 10. You don't have to be up. It doesn't ever work out that way. So I try, but it doesn't work. It's usually just relax for a little bit, kind of lay in bed, go outside, get some sunlight, enjoy, take in the morning, be grateful that another morning I woke up to, that I have an opportunity for what the day's about to take on, and we're going to have that chance to focus and put out there everything that I've been working on this fight camp and that I want to achieve in the fight and be out to go out there and showcase for that night. And then it's really just fueling the body for the day and joking around with the coaches until the fight starts.
So humor's a big part of it. Staying relaxed and having a good time is a big part of it.
Yeah, I got to stay lighthearted because I've definitely done it where fight day, I had too much time to myself, and then I'm picturing the fight, and I'm like Mortal Kombat finishes, and I'm sitting in my room, amped up, sweating, heart rate going through the roof. I'm like, oh my God. And then I've had so many adrenaline spikes and crashes that when I've gone into the fight, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of like, no, let's just joke around all day and not think about the fight at all. Because if I do, then I'm sitting here like clenched, ready to fight, and it's not where I need to be.
Have you always been like that, or is that something that's changed as your career's gone on?
I think I've always been like that, but the awareness has taken time as your career gone on. I didn't recognize that I was getting amped up, and then I was sitting there, I'm like, man, I am so tired. It hasn't even started. I don't understand. I didn't do anything different with fuel. I'm not eating junk food. This doesn't make any sense. Not making that correlation between the adrenaline spikes, picturing the fight, and those Mortal Kombat finishes. So once I finally had just a really poor experience in the fight, I just didn't perform even 10% of what I was capable of doing. And because I was exhausted going into it, I came out of there going, yeah, I know exactly what went wrong this time. I know what I've been doing wrong all this time. And so that was the point where I'm like, oh, okay, I need to just go hang out with the coaches in their room. And that's what I need to do. I need to not be in my head in my room at all, because I just sit there and just think violent thoughts all day long.
So thinking violent thoughts just for a moment then, and obviously we know we've discussed this before about your bucket list of finishes. What are your violent thoughts ahead of this weekend, and have you got a couple of finishes that you've got in mind? I know there's the submission that you keep talking about that you want to nail, but you won't share anything about it. We're going to get it eventually. She's going to nail it.
We get it on tape, and then it'll be perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, I still want my bucket list finishes. You know, like
You got the body shot.
I got the body shot, which led to the finish, but not the ultimate finish. You know, like a one and done would be the best of circumstances, where they drop, they fold. I still don't have a clean knockout, and I need that. I want I make contact, and it's lights out.
Spinning like. Okay.
I want out cold, so I still want the clean KO.
Okay.
I want a full body shot finish knockout.
Okay.
I want an out cold submission. I want like my signature submission,
Technical submission.
but I want to be able where they go to sleep, and I know without a doubt, it's not that the ref had to come in because a limb was hyperextended. It was that the ref came in because they completely went out cold.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on this weekend?
I'm excited for it. I know she's aggressive, and that in a lot of ways plays in my game and helps.
Yeah.
And if she takes the throttle out, at this point in my career, I've had so many experiences where I go in and for the first time, the opponent acted different than they ever have in a fight, right? So we're used to at this point, and I'm prepared for if that happens, what I can do to implement my game plan. And then if she comes in full throttle and she's ready to go for her finish and do it, how to counter all that, how to meet her, how to meet it head on and get the finishes I'm looking for as well.
Because I would imagine that when you step in there with an opponent, you often get a different look from them than what you've seen in your research because it's you.
Yeah.
Right? Like they step in there and they're like, oh, okay, I'm fighting Liz, right? Like, you just get a different version of that fighter because of what they're up against. Like, do you have to take that into account? Because it kind of sounds like you expect people to be aggressive, but if they're not aggressive with you, you then have to go and put it on them to make them fight. And that seems like it's something you've learned from experience of people not necessarily wanting to be as aggressive with you as they would normally.
Yeah, that's definitely something I've seen in opponents where I'll watch and like I'm like, okay, they have 20 fights, so he's bum rush in the first 20 seconds, blitz as hard as they can, and then that seems to be like their shake off in the fight.
Yeah.
And then they go on, and then it's a back and forth. So be ready for the blitz. And then I go on, and they're just like, wait. I'm like, what is? They've never done this before. And so it used to mess with me. I'd like look at my coaches, like this never happens. We didn't talk about this. And so having that happen so many times, I had to adjust on the fly. And so now it's like, hey, I could go out there and this is a completely different opponent. So I need to just go in there and think about what I'm going to do, what I'm best at, and not think about everything that they could potentially do because who knows at this point.
And obviously this division's moving quite quickly. Dakota's back in competition, the belt's still vacant. What are your thoughts on the rest of this year? Like you must be wanting a title shot before the year's out. Like we need that belt around someone's waist, right?
We do, yeah. You know, the nice thing about having a vacant belt is it gives an opportunity for everyone to climb up the ranks and to be hungry to say, I'm the person that deserves to do that. And I think having somebody ranked number one, number two, it only makes sense at the end of the year for us to be the ones fighting for the belt and to decide who truly is the belt holder.
Yeah. One more question for you. How would you like to be remembered at the end of your career?
As somebody that opened up doors for women, as somebody that created opportunities and spoke up and tried to create awareness that we have different women of different body types and everybody deserves a chance to showcase how talented women truly are. And one thing we keep proving time and time again is we should always be the co-main and main event because we go out there and throw down more exciting than the men. So open up more divisions for us to show you that that's true.
Yeah, I like that. You must be very, very proud of yourself for being one of those pioneers that opened the door of the octagon for the ladies.
I'm working on it. I still got more to do to be proud of myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I
Thank you.
really appreciate it. I always enjoy our conversations. I always feel very grounded and much wiser after speaking to Liz. She just has that effect on people. Good luck with the fight this weekend. Good luck with the rest of the year. I hope you get that title shot. And just thank you for being a part of the sport because I know that you've had such a positive effect on so many fighters over the years. We're still benefiting from your presence in the sport even when you retire. So thank you very much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for Between Rounds. Liz Carmouche fighting this weekend in San Diego, a legend of the sport. Thank you so much for joining us. I've enjoyed this conversation tremendously. We're sponsored by Gorilla Energy. Make sure you check this out and make sure on Saturday you tuned in for these fights. They're going to be really, really good. I'll see you next time.